Hello everyone and welcome. Laura here for WPlus9. Thank you so much for joining me today. I have a fun project to share with you featuring some more new goodies from the winter collection by WPlus9. So I'm going to show you how I created this card. I've got my Misty. I'm going to take a piece of this Tim Holtz watercolor cardstock and I'm going to emboss this beautiful snowflake image from the Merriest Snowflake stamp set. So I'm mounting that on my Misty. I'm going to rub down the watercolor cardstock with the magic powder bag, inking up the image with Versamark ink. So this is why I'm using my Misty, because sometimes I like to stamp the image twice when I'm embossing to make sure that I get really good coverage with that Versamark ink. That way the embossing powder sticks and you get just a good clear emboss. You know, you ever tried to emboss something and you didn't get enough embossing powder on there? Now that just chaps my khakis when that happens and you don't get a good embossed impression. And it can be a bear when you try to emboss on watercolor cardstock. Now this Tim Holtz Distress Watercolor cardstock is I'm using the smooth side, so it's pretty good and it's nice and bright white, but the arches or other types with the texture to them, and they're not as bright as white. I mean, they're beautiful and gorgeous for painting. You get great results, but they can be a bear to try to emboss on. You know, so as I'm blabbing away, I'm going around stamping this snowflake image all over this panel, filling in all the nooks and crannies, and then using that clear embossing powder. Okay, so then I'm going to add the color with liquid watercolors. It's going to be very loosey-goosey, dreamy. It's going to be merry. That's what it's going to be. We're having a merry party. So for the liquid watercolors, I've got Sunshine, Key Lime, Aquamarine, and Sapphire, and these are by Pinkfresh Studio. So then I take a nice wide brush and brush it on just some clear water, doing what they like to call the wet on wet technique. Okay, I'm gonna just preface this by saying I have no idea what I'm doing, but you know what they say, if you don't know what you're doing, do it with confidence. So I'm just slapping on some of that key lime, and then here is the aquamarine. And that is what you got to do. You slap it on and you hope for the best. And then you go in with a wet brush and you try to blend it out. And then here's some of that yellow. Now, I wouldn't say this is very traditional Christmassy, but I would say it's merry. And then when this starts to dry, you will see the snowflakes kind of peeping out here and there as they resist the watercolor with the clear embossing. It's really dreamy, if you ask me. So I'm going around, add a little bit of here, a little dab here, a little dab there, trying to, you know, have a bit of a good balance with the colors. And then I'll take my dry paper towel and kind of sop up any if I feel like it got too much. And just try to evenly disperse it and act like I know what I'm doing, which I don't know. Sometimes I wonder, why did I choose to do painting on a video for the WPlus9 blog when Dawn, the owner, is like, I mean, she could teach Bob Ross, is what I'm trying to say. And then here I am. I look like SpongeBob trying to, I don't know what I'm doing, but hey, go over with a heat gun. And then like the snowflakes really, they pop through and it's quite pretty. So I'm going to take a little bit of that aquamarine and flick it around. If you ever feel like a card needs something, just do a little flicking. That's what I say. And then, of course, I wanted to add a little bit of white flicking. But I learned my lesson the hard way. The last time I got carried away with the flicks, it was everywhere. I'm still picking off the dried paint off my camera. So now I got smart. I pull out an old box. And I use this box for flicking and for the adhesive spray. Just, yeah, and then once I wear that box out, I get a new one. And then there's the white flicks. Looks beautiful. I'll trim this down and pop it up on a white card base. But now we're moving on to the sentiment. I'm using this word die from the Sending Cheer die set. I'm going to die cut this 4 times into this white Nina Solar white cardstock. And then I'll do it 1 time onto some white glitter cardstock. So I'm going to stack these up, adhere them together to make a nice dimensional focal word die cut. So here is the glitter cardstock. Just going to do 1 of those. And I use that retractable needle tool to pop out all the innards of these die cuts and spray adhesive right into my scrap flicking box. And I love the spray adhesive. It makes it so quick. It gives you enough time to slide it around, but I find it to be so much easier and less frustrating than liquid adhesive. So I quickly adhere the 4 white ones together and then do the glittered one on top. I'm going to emboss a coordinating sentiment that's from the Merriest Snowflake stamp set, but I couldn't find the right color cardstock that coordinated with my background. So what I did was I embossed the sentiment in clear on white, and I took some Blueprint Sketch Distress ink, and I'm going over it. And I found that that was just the right color that I was looking for to go with this background. Now, does anybody know where you can get this color of cardstock? It's like the color of Blueprint Sketch. It's hard to believe with as much cardstock as I have that I do not have this color. And I need some. I love this bright royal blue color, and it matched perfectly with some of the liquid watercolors in the background. And I thought, you know what this card needs? It needs a little thread nest, and I haven't done one in a long time. It's fun to do, to make a little thread nest behind your sentiment. It's supposed to look loose and effortless, but I like to stand there for a good hour and shimmy that thing around until I like the look of it. And then I put a little bit of glossy accents on the back of my Sending Cheer stacked up word die. And then as well, a little bit of foam tape on the back of that coordinating sentiment. Now, I did not forget the tittle. I bet y'all were thinking, did she forget the tittle? No, I did not. So I'm adhering the tittle, and then just to finish it off, a few little of these little clear droplets just to kick up that festive feel, give it a little shimmer and shine. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for joining me, sending you a little cheer today. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.